Let me show you how to make my absolute favorite pasta in about 15 minutes. A sweet and garlicky tomato sauce that is particularly good now that it is summertime and tomatoes are packed with flavor. Get a pot on a high heat and add a generous amount of salt. Some people say that the pasta water should be as salty as the sea, but given that the average salinity of the oceans is about 3.5%, that is a little too salty. I never measure my salt to water ratio, but if you want to be scientific about it, I would suggest about 10 grams of salt per liter of water. Once it has come to a boil, I add 500 grams of rigatoni. This could also be spaghetti or penne, it doesn't really matter, but I just happen to like the little rigatonis. While they're boiling, we can prepare the very simple sauce. About half a kilo of tomatoes, preferably a smaller variety like cherry tomatoes or San Marzano, but it doesn't matter too much. It is, however, important to use a lot of garlic, about half a bulb or a whole bulb if they are small. I like to just cut off the end of the bulb and then squeeze the whole thing with my knife, and then they pop out quite easily. Slice them up, and there is no need to be precise. I really like to have some slices that are bigger than others, as it adds a few different flavors of garlic to the dish. Then quarter the tomatoes or halve them if they are really small, and then you're pretty much ready to go. Put a pan on a medium heat and add a generous glug of olive oil. Olive oil is a major part of this sauce, so don't be stingy with it. Then add your garlic and a pinch of chili flakes and a pinch of dried oregano. Fry the garlic until you just start to see the edges of the garlic slices browning a little bit, and then you can add the tomatoes with a pinch of salt. The tomatoes will stop the browning of the garlic and start to melt down into a sauce. And here it's quite important to keep quite a high heat in order to get the sugars in the tomatoes to really caramelize. It should only take about 3 minutes for the tomatoes to cook down and create a sweet and jammy sauce. And this is a really great sauce on its own, and I often just have it like this. However, if you want to make it a bit more filling and you want to have some more protein in your dish, a can of butter beans is a great addition to the sauce. I've just drained and rinsed the beans, and then they go straight in. When your pasta is just shy of being done, transfer it to the sauce, try to stir it up a little bit, and then realize that you have been an idiot and picked a way smaller pan than you actually wanted to, and then give up and transfer it to a bigger pan that actually allows you to stir. Currently the sauce is quite thin and doesn't really stick to the pasta, so what we want to achieve now is an emulsion. The fat from the oil and the water from the tomatoes would normally not mix. However, in combination with the starch from the pasta and fast movements, we can achieve an emulsion that makes a thicker and creamy sauce. You can add a bit more of the starchy pasta water and optionally a bit of Parmesan cheese to thicken it even more. Stir it up, and if you're a greasy boy like me, add a little more olive oil at the end, and then you will see the pasta starting to get covered in a beautiful shiny layer of emulsified tomato sauce. It's a little bit difficult to see, but try and have a look at the pasta before we started the emulsion. See how it's all white looking and the sauce is not really adhering. At this point, the sauce is really runny and stays at the bottom of the pan. And now at the end of our emulsion, you can see how each pasta is covered in the sauce and has taken up a reddish color. Check for seasoning. Does it need more salt? Does it need more pepper? And then when you find that it's good, serve it up and dust it with a little bit more Parmesan cheese. And then you have a beautiful dinner in about 15 minutes. Very simple ingredients, but surprisingly sophisticated. The garlic has a mellow roastedness and the tomatoes go incredibly sweet when cooked like this. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you soon.